You got a problem, you don't know what to do, your dreams are strange, and you're seeing things too. The world is full of mystery, life's more than you can see. You can ask Pomegranate, you can ask Pomegranate. She's a priestess.
Hi, Pom. I have a question about trance. I was wondering, so when someone does a meditation, like an extended meditation on a certain set of archetypes or a certain aspect of deity, at what point are you letting too much of that into your life? Should you not be like trying to wear a glimmer of that all the time, or at what point do you need to just learn what you can from that? When do you know when to stop and go on with your life?
I think I understand your question. I'm not totally sure. I think you're saying, well, okay, let me guess and we'll see what we come up with. It seems like you're saying I'm working with a deity and that deity is really influencing me. Is this okay? And yeah, it's okay. I mean, deity is sort of what deity is. What is deity? Well, it's a way, it's an archetypes are a way of us connecting with something bigger than ourselves. It's a way for our small, tiny, I mean, think about how small we are. We're just like this tiny, like look around you and look at how many things are bigger than you. Almost everything. Right? And we have these little brains, and the brain, okay, our brains are little, people. They're not big. But the brain will tell you, I am the brain, and I am huge, and I am the most important organ in you. And then you have to say to yourself, who's saying this? Oh, it's the brain. The brain has language, so it gets to talk itself up. I'm sure the heart would go on and on. What would the spleen say? I am the great God spleen, and please listen to everything I say. It's like, well, all right. So the brain likes to tell us stuff, and one of the things the brain likes to tell us is, we are bigger than anything, and I am the center of all known things. And while there is a spiritual way in which that's kind of true, there's a narcissistic way in which it's kind of so not true. So deity is a little way. Deities are little ways of us connecting with the great mystery that all things are one, that all things are interconnected, and that all things are about love. And we encounter deity as a way to have story. Story is the way that it's the food of our lives. We can no more live without story than we can live without, oh God, air? Maybe air? Definitely water. Food, I think we need less than story. We need story more than food. And I think it might be as vital, as important as air. We have a little node in our brain which tells stories. They found it. I don't know if they call it the story node. That's what I call it. But it's actually a little spot in our brain which actually manufactures stories, and it will manufacture stories about anything. They put electrodes on people to make their arm raise up into the air, okay? And so they set the electrode off. Now, the people don't know this is what the electrode is for. And so they set the electrode. This is an experiment. They set the electrode off, and the arm goes up in the air. My arm's going up in the air right now. And then they say, Billy, why did your arm go up in the air? And Billy doesn't know, because Billy doesn't know the electrode is signaling his arm to go up in the air. So Billy will go, well, I just wanted to stretch. That's his story node telling the story. It fills in the gaps. It'll tell a story that isn't even true. And so that's how we interpret everything. And so deity helps us, gives us stories to understand the great mystery of the oneness of all things, also known as the universe, the one song. The universe, the one song. You are a part of the universe. You are a part of the one song, and deity reminds you of that. And so when a particular deity comes to you, by the way, Our brain tells us we chose the deity. Okay. Thank you, brain. You're so egotistical. Thank you for holding me as a separate being. That is what I'm here to do. Thank you, brain, so much. When the deity picks you, you don't pick it, it picks you. It says, hey, my story is the story that is going to be your teacher right now. And I bring my story to you so that you can learn about yourself. So you can better do your karmic journey. So you can better go navigate your spiritual life. So you listen to them for as long as they've chosen you. You offer them whatever it is you like to offer them. Their deity, right? They're big. They're much bigger than you, and they're not even as big as the biggest thing, but they're the part you can hold on to. They're the part you can relate to. So whether it be Isis or the Buddha or Jesus or the great primal mother, you, as R.J. Stewart says, you hold on to that and you let it teach you, and you let it teach you for as long as they are willing to teach you. And when they're done with you, when that story, when that archetype is done with you, they'll leave you alone. And they may never leave you alone, and you might have to dedicate yourself to 1 or 2 or 10. I'm dedicated to more than one. And what I suggest to you is that you move towards deity that you can relate to and that speaks to you. And that if you're starting to feel like your life is being taken over by it, just be sure that for you, I mean, it's, if it's taken over by it, it's kind of taken over by it. That's the spiritual journey. That's being, what's the word? Revelation, or that's the revelatory experience, is to be taken over by profound insights from somebody else bigger than you. Now, caveat, which is this. If you're practicing spiritual materialism, then that's you all up in your ego, honey, about the deity. And the deity will teach you through spiritual materialism if that's what you choose. But you can run into problems with this if you're involved in spiritual materialism. In other words, if you are working with that deity because it feeds your ego, because it makes you feel like you are superior or better than others, or inferior, because that's letting yourself feel inferior all the time, deflated self as opposed to inflated self. And really cultivating deflated self is just as egotistical as cultivating inflated self too much. If you find yourself spending too much money on, statues of Bast or whatever, then, or, I must go to the festival of the fairies, for I am one with the fairy queen and I will spend my rent money on that, then you are probably practicing spiritual materialism, and you're showing people how special you are because you're special spiritual life. It's like, you know what? You're special because you were born, but you're not special because you have that wand. Your specialness is not about the stuff you have or how you can prove how cool or spiritual you are. It just isn't. Your specialness comes inherently within you. It's inherent. You are born. In other words, you inherited it. You have inherited your wonderfulness. And there's nothing you have to do to prove that to yourself or to others. And if you don't feel that way, you can heal that. And if you have a deity in your life, ask them to help you heal it, because that's what they're there for. So put down the purse and make sure the purchase is in right action and right alignment with your spiritual purpose here on life, and put down the ego and just surrender. Surrender to the wisdom of the higher power. I don't care what form it comes in. Every language, it's just every deity, every one of them is just a different language that appeals to different people at different incarnations. And that's all it is. There is no exclusivity. It's all roads lead to the one goddess or God, which is the unknowable, the vastness. It's not even mystery. The oneness and unknowableness of all things, the nameless one, is beyond mystery. We delve into mystery, but this is beyond mystery. And so the smaller deities help us access that beyond mystery through opening a gate to mystery. To leave a question for me, dial 520-222-9922. 520-222-9922. Visit my website at AskPomegranate.com.
You can ask Pomegranate. She's a